The presenting sponsor of Upmarket is Aereo, the best place to grow and manage your real estate media business online at aereo.com. That's ARYEO.com. Coming to you from the makeshift Upmarket studio in beautiful Oxnard, California. This is Upmarket, a podcast about the business of real estate photography and media. My name is Reed Fish. I'm the CEO and a co-founder of Upmarket Media. And Mark Corcoran in the house, another co-founder, the COO of Upmarket Media.
Get your letters right. Come on.
Yeah, I know. The ABCs, they're coming to me. The CEOs, COOs, I don't know.
We got a CFO somewhere out there too.
Yeah. CFO. We got a lot of C's and O's. But we don't have a Chelsea today, producing from afar.
Yeah, she's holding it down.
Well, this is good because we got a lot to talk about in this episode, and now we can talk about her.
We can.
Yeah,
she can listen instead of participate.
Yeah, she can listen later and find out what we think about her. Not have her chiming in. So here we are. We're at the end of the year. It's now early December when we're recording this, and this is the time of year that we always like to think about and do our SWOT analysis, which we did on the podcast last year, and we'll do on the podcast next year too, because we do it every year.
We do. This is our third time running, right?
Yeah, this is our third time doing a SWOT, our second time on the air. And yeah. So for those of you who don't know what a SWOT analysis is, go back to our episode last year and it gets explained in depth. And but we will say it's a time to sit down and go over your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
There it is. Yeah, it's kind of a big picture look at your business, right? What's going on internally, externally? What are you good at? What could you be better at?
Yeah, and I think the end of the year is a natural time to do it. You kind of reassess of how the year went, and then kind of it starts laying the groundwork for your plans for next year as well. So
yeah, and last year, man, we went into it last year. I remember that was a long episode. It's just like a lot of stuff came up during the episode. We thought we had it all kind of played out, but it was like, man, we just kept finding more strengths, more weakness,
more strengths, very few weaknesses.
Sure. That's how it went.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, well, shall we kick it off?
Let's get into it. Yeah.
Okay. You got the thing?
I got a thing. Yeah. Let's look at the thing.
Okay.
So yeah, we want to do this like we did last year. We want to do our SWOT analysis, but we want to kind of guide people through it. And if they want to do it alongside us or take notes from us, then some of the things you want to think about when you're looking, and we'll just kind of start with strengths.
Yeah. So I'd like it.
We'll start looking at things that your company does well, qualities that separate you from your competitors, internal resources such as skilled, knowledgeable team members, and tangible assets such as intellectual property capital, proprietary technologies, things that only you can do.
Yeah, we have a lot of those.
Yeah. So that's kind of the mindset. And some of the actual questions you can ask yourself in your business is, what do your customers love about your company? What does your company do better than any other companies or competitors? What are your most positive brand attributes?
Oh, yeah.
And what's your unique selling proposition?
Oh, yeah. The unique selling proposition.
I think that's called a USP or something like that.
I'm sure there's an acronym. I need to read some business books so I can get in on all these acronyms, as CEO. See, I got it right.
There you go. Yeah. So last year we'd already done our SWOT analysis with Jeff, and we were kind of recapping
our business
it.
Advisor, Jeff,
we're literally like jumping in.
Yeah.
We
decided we reversed it this year. We're doing it on air first, and then we're going to go over it with our business advisor.
Yeah.
So for strengths, I mean, I think they're obvious, but I think. What is our biggest strength? I mean, I think it's, if you're looking at it in the context of our market here, and again, one little side note, we are really doing this SWOT for our main Upmarket Media business. And obviously we have this other kind of side business now of the Upmarket Studios and producing the podcast and everything else. But we'll touch on that a little bit, but this is really about our core business that, most of our listeners have these same types of businesses.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think, in the context of where we are, we're kind of the one-stop shop.
Yeah. I feel like we're kind of the big dog in town.
Oh, for sure.
For what we do.
Yeah, without a doubt. And so the strength is that, we offer basically all the services that most realtors would want when they're listing a property.
Yeah. And that's, that becomes, an opportunity for us, but it also, as we'll talk about maybe in some of the threats, it's also like once you're at the top of the mountain, you're kind of,
right.
You also become a target. So it can also have a negative implication at the back end.
Yeah. And where like, I feel like because we offer all the services and I think we do them well, I mean, that's another strength is the quality of our work. But I don't think we can just, rest on our laurels with that. I mean, that's not, you have to still keep, innovating and keep doing it, whereas, one of the big changes we made this year is we offered a free floor plan with every shoot. And I think that, we weren't doing that a year ago. And I think that has made us stronger actually.
Yeah. And I think looking back, the way that we kind of implemented that was pretty genius. It's like,
well, was it my idea?
That could have been, yeah. Like we could have charged $50 or $100 for a floor plan, right? But we, way
we were trying to before.
Yeah. We just kind of bumped our prices and incorporated it as a free service, which now that floor plans are becoming available to agents and they can do them themselves for free, they don't feel like we're not losing clients because of that. Like it's already kind of built into what we offer. So it's kind of baked in. Yeah.
I think at the beginning of the year we bumped, or maybe when springtime came, we bumped our kind of base photo prices by like $25 per tier. And then, but we added a free floor plan.
We did. And that's how we marketed it. And that's what we talked about. And people are digging it.
Yeah. And no one pushed back on the prices. No one did any of that. So I think, that is one way that, we strengthened ourselves. And then, being that one-stop shop, I mean, then we are on the tip of people's tongue and we are the big dog. So that's the strength is that we're known too.
Yeah.
I mean,
we are the most well-known and our reputation is, from what I believe, is pretty stellar in the community.
Is. Yeah. Mine a little tarnished, but,
we're working on that.
Yeah.
Right?
But as a company, I think we're seen as quality and good to work with and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. We work with the top agents and we know the right people and we're always at the events and we're part of the community. And it's just, we're trying to hit all the buttons on that.
Yeah. And that's one of the strengths that we've accomplished. Are you accomplishing the strength? But I mean, we really gotten out there in the community more in the last year. We've really made a point to do in-person marketing through networking events and brokerage presentations and any, sponsoring things and, kind of any way we can get out in front of our clients. And it's really, really paid dividends.
Yeah. It's like, we're the Upmarket guys now. People just know us as that. And,
exactly.
A lot more than they used to. So
exactly. So, strengths, what else?
So, this was a big one last year and it's still a big one for us. And that's our team.
There you go.
And our team members and our team has changed a little bit this year. It's morphed and then morphed back maybe a little bit, but it's like, I feel really good about our team right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Like how many we have, the quality of the people that we have, what they're producing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It feels like we're right now at the right level for staffing.
Yes.
Even though it's the slower season. And so it's not like everyone is all busy all the time, but it feels manageable. Where I think last year, maybe, cause we had the same amount of people, but it's just different circumstances and it was a lot slower. So it felt like, oh man, we have way too much. And then,
that felt more stressful. And the mix of people we have now and their kind of setup as far as like they have additional, supplemental income or whatever their setup is, like it feels like it's less of we got to get these people work. Like we're feeding them as much as we can, but it's like they're going to be okay and get through the holidays and be ready for spring.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah. So no, and for sure, like we, and it goes and, it kind of starts at the top with Chelsea. Obviously you guys all know Chelsea and, what an asset she is. And then I've been really, very pleased to see the growth in our other shooters this year. They've done a tremendous job and I think they've really grown. And I think, Nikki in particular, shout out Nikki, if you're listening, but she's really, come a long way and picked up video. We asked her to pick up video and she's done great. And I think we're really seeing, like a passion from her about doing the work and like she's coming up, I got this really cool shot. And you're like, that's so great that you have an employee saying that.
Yeah.
Not like, I got all the photos.
Right? Yeah. She gets excited about a certain detail shot or whatever it is. And it's just like, that's kind of fun that she has that enjoyment or she's looking for that.
Yeah. And I think then that comes through to the agent too, where you have someone out there who is representing you well and who is excited to be there and do the job.
Yeah.
And so that, that's, so valuable to have people who can represent you.
Yeah. And I've noticed a transition this year. Like last year we talked about one of our weaknesses was like people still request, I need Mark, gotta have Mark. Now I feel like it's shifting and people are like, is Nikki? Oh, can I have Nikki? And like it's almost like
that's good.
It's shifted away from me more. And people are like actually trying our team members and loving the team. And it's like, so it's that kind of gradual evolution of prying them away from you and I shooting is like finally kind of paying off.
And I think that's not only does that show the strength of our team and the growth of our team, but it's also familiarity, with people. They've just been around for a while now. And so, people get to know them. And then we also, note on Instagram when we post photos that they took, photos by Nikki, video by Nikki, photos by Jazz, video by Marco.
Trying to constantly throw their names out there and let them know that they're in the mix and this is the kind of great work they're producing, and that all helps.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, that's we would be nowhere without the team.
Right.
I mean,
it's the team members, but then it's also what having that team does for our business and our availability and our capacity to like take a last minute shoot or do something on a Saturday or do, certain things that we couldn't do if it was just you or I.
Absolutely. And so, and the strength of the team and us, of the kind of peace of mind, knowing that things are taken care of. And, of course, problems still arise all the time. It's just the nature of it, but it does allow us not only to service our clients and be more available to them, but to also spend time focusing on our business rather than being in the business.
Yeah. So that's always a big one. And, obviously you pulled back a lot from shooting and you dabbled your toes here and there when needed, but it's like you're in that headspace a lot more, and I'm getting into that headspace more and more, especially at this time of year. And it feels good. And I can like facilitate them and what do they need? What does our team need in the field, and really focus on what they need and are they, happy day to day and what's working, what's not working, and really. Right.
No, and it allows us, and especially as we're hitting the slow season and we're really ramping up this week and kind of talking about what projects we are going to focus on and tackle over the next 6, 7, 8 weeks, that we're anticipating it slower than normal. And I think we're going to probably do an episode on that coming up too, on, things that we're thinking about and doing during slow season. Yeah. But, having the team, having that luxury of because we're still shooting, right now. So, I mean, we're, busier than we were last year. And so like we're able to have the team go out and shoot, and we can still focus on these slow season things. So, yeah. And it feels good when we're booking big packages on, high end homes, that it doesn't have to be me, and like we can have our team, we can have Nikki and Marco and Jazz, and we know that it's handled and they're going to. Totally. So that feels really good. Yeah. Totally. And then what was the other questions in there? Let's see. What does your company do better than any other companies? I mean, I hate to be conceited about it, but just everything. I mean, when I think about our competition locally, it's like comes back to kind of the one-stop shop. Yeah, exactly. The high quality, basically 24/7 customer support. Yeah. And then also, the speed of delivery. I mean, we're delivering everything, next morning, basically. So that, and we've talked about it before. I mean, that's kind of the number one thing that realtors want, even above having great quality marketing materials, is that speed of delivery. Yeah. You have to have good materials, but if you can get it to them fast, they'll forgive a couple little things. Yeah, I feel that way too. And it's like, now that we've kind of outsourced our video side of editing this year, that's really helped to kind of streamline that. And we're not like, having our guys who are in the field shooting, when are you going to edit that video? It's just like, we've that's kind so much nicer, separated that out. Yeah. And I think the quality of the editing is not quite where it was. Right. It's just not quite there, but it's honestly, it's good enough for real estate. And one of the struggles is the music. And music is tough. I mean, we're outsourcing it to, Yeah. I mean, even though we give a folder of, here's the songs we like. And then somehow there's always songs that we don't like being picked. I don't know. Yeah. It's just such a nuance. And then what I might like, the agent doesn't like, and it's just like, it's always going to be challenging. Yeah. But that was the same when we were editing in-house, I mean, you probably had a higher batting average, but there was still like, can we see a different song?
Yeah. It feels a bit more amplified now, I guess, but I would take that any day to have the videos ready by 9 a.m. and ready to deliver and tweak a song here and there. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. And so I think that is something we could work on this year, is to kind of get the video editing just, on the margins, just a little bit better. I think it's there enough for our needs, and maybe not on the super, super high end one, but we have Marco back now. And so we can edit some in-house if we need to.
Yeah, we do. And that feels really good to have him and his abilities on tap for us. And, when you're at a house shooting at 5 or 6 at night, doing twilights and video and everything, and to know that you can have everything next morning, 9 o'clock. I mean, it's kind of incredible. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
People who shoot weddings and stuff are like, you do what? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of nutty when you think about it.
Well, I do think that is, I don't know if that's our unique value, our UVP. Yeah, UVP.
Unique selling proposition.
Not value proposition, selling proposition. I don't know if that's our USP, but I kind of think, is this a cop out to be like, our uniqueness stems from the fact that we're all the things that we do, as good a job as anyone else, and we do it quickly, and we can do it as, basically as soon as you want to book, we can probably do it tomorrow.
Yeah. Or even same day, which we've done before. So it's like, it's hard to pick out just one thing. It is it's a combination
I know, when
of
there's just so many amazing things about us.
When you just make it like that, I think just ease for the agent, just making everything easy, good, quick, like that kind of combination is just like in the sweet spot for what they need.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. So, all right.
Yeah. Great. And so another strength.
We're going to go.
Let's do one more.
Yeah, sure.
Just because it was on last year and I think it needs to be talked about again. And that was you. Remember, you got upgraded from a weakness to a strength.
Oh, I did? Oh, well, Mark, then we need to do another strength. You.
Well, we can't, No, it's just you being out of the day-to-day and out of the shooting and focusing on starting our new podcast, our local Ventura podcast.
Which has just been a roaring success.
Started off super strong, and now it's like, any agents out there want to be on this thing? It's just, their scheduling.
The same with this podcast, with the dealing with my mom passing, kind of curtailed that podcast. And also we were just having trouble getting realtors to commit to be on, but
it's the scheduling part with the agents that seems to be the biggest headache. But
but we'll talk about that, in other parts of this, but
you got that off the ground, and just you being in that headspace to work, like we said, on the business and bigger things. And
well, thank you. I think, I really, I feel like I have not been awesome this year. And so I appreciate you saying that, but, I am definitely, I don't want to say I'm rededicating myself, but I feel excited about kind of diving back in and getting and really kind of accomplishing some of these things that we've been wanting to accomplish and thinking and coming up with the big ideas and which I have a few percolating that kind of testing the waters out there on. So
it's been a challenging year personally and for the business and everything, but it's like, we're still doing these big things, and we're still at PMRE, and we're building our, our brand as a business, and we're building all these things. So
I think so. I mean, I think, that is one of the strengths, is that we have, this brand name now. We have Upmarket Media, and people, it's like, obviously realtors in Kansas do not know our brand, and nor should they. Why would they want to know it? But I think in our community, in the real estate photography community, we are known now. And I think that's good. And I think that's actually important. And I think there's going to be ways to use that to our advantage, to be able to help grow our company. So
absolutely. Yeah.
I'm thankful for that. And I think I do think it is a strength. I don't know quite how we'll leverage that or what actually that is. But if nothing else, I don't know. I feel the, being out there and having us known and going to PMRE and meeting people and, getting feedback from people about the podcast, it really strengthens that sense of community. And I think that really helps our business. And I just had a conversation yesterday morning with another business owner in another state. and we talk for like an hour and a half and just like shooting ideas back and forth. And so, and that,
so it's beyond just that 4 days in Vegas, right? It's like, it's a bigger community.
And so, and I don't think I would have that conversation if we didn't have the podcast.
No,
so, you know, those are, you know, this podcast I think is a strength of ours too, even though it's not facing the, you know, our day-to-day clients.
No, I agree. And it's like, I remember something Kelsey Curtis said in her presentation at PMR. It's like the build the significance first, even if you don't quite know like where it's going. And then it's like, you know, and we're just kind of building a brand and trying to do it in an authentic, real way and share what we've done and our journey. And that just feels good so far.
And if that's all it is, that's all it is. And that's good. I mean, you know, and, you know, with our sponsors, the podcast is sustaining itself and, you know, we're making a little bit on it. And so it's like, I mean, I, you know, I really enjoy doing the podcast. And so I think we'll, you know, obviously we'll continue it.
Yeah. So. I mean, it's a good outlet like we've talked about for the business and for us. And it just, you know, it works. So let's keep going.
All right. Well, our other strength, you know, and not to be, you know, facetious is Mark. I mean, it really is, you know, having someone so steady to help guide the ship and who's so detail oriented about a lot of things, not everything,
some things,
but you know, who you're just always so on top of it in terms of like those photo shoots I know they're going to get out. I know the photos are going to look good. I know, you know, that whatever piddly stupid thing that has, you know, paperwork thing needs to be done. I mean, if Mark says he's going to take care of it, he'll take care of it. You know, just those day-to-day things and, you know, keeping the gear in order and like, you know, it's like, I noticed the gear in the bags was slipping a little bit. So I got this new system for doing, you know, all that kind of stuff that I'm just going to have everything in a pile in my bag. So, you know, that, you know, and I think those things can just be taken for granted and overlooked, but I think they're really important and they really, help our company stay strong. You know, the equipment stays in good shape and and you know, you're always on top of what everyone needs out there. So
right on. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a good partnership.
Cause I think the operations, you are the operations guy and they operate.
Yeah. Day by day. Right. Yeah. Some days, you know, when I'm out, did a huge package or I've decided I'm doing it and I'm just like, I feel like I'm just like so focused on what I'm doing in that day that I don't have time for all of that. But then there's other days where I can really kind of step back and focus on it and that feels good. So
yeah. All right, I think obviously we're so strong, but now are we doing, SWOT.
Should we skip the W or just, such a small one.
Damn it. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's think about what we need to think about for weaknesses. So weaknesses are things that your company may lack, things that your competitors may actually be doing better than you. Any resource limitations, or you're unclear on what your unique selling proposition is and you really are a little muddy with that.
Okay.
So that could be a weakness. So some of the questions to contemplate to come up with your weaknesses are: what do your customers dislike about your company or products? What problems or complaints are often mentioned in feedback or negative reviews? And why do your customers cancel or switch to a competitor?
And spoiler alert, they don't.
What could your company be doing better? And what are some possible negative brand attributes?
Okay. Yeah, let's skip this. Just kidding.
This ended up being pretty long last year, I think. It's like, dang.
Yeah. All our weaknesses. Well, I think that honestly, and I did not re-listen to last year's before this. So if I say the same thing as last year, I apologize. But I think almost our strength is our weakness. That we are the big dog.
Yeah.
That we are even though we do not have I think we're the biggest player, but we don't have the majority of properties that come to market in Ventura County, but it feels like we do. And so I think if a realtor wants to differentiate themselves, they might even they could make a pretty strong case to not use us, provided they had someone who could give really good content for them.
If you want to stand out, and like we talk about, we're marketing the agent, and if 500 agents will use us for the same photo and the same video, then it's like
because essentially it ends up being kind of cookie cutter, because that's how we have to run a business to be efficient and have the same day delivery and have it's like it just kind of ends up everything's the same.
Yeah. It's hard to individualize stuff with the team and agent. It's just like,
you can't really do it. So I think that that is our weakness, and that we're vulnerable to just someone saying, oh, everyone uses Upmarket, use me instead, because, here's how I'm different. Here's my unique selling proposition.
Right. Someone can really analyze us because we're pretty much an open book. All our stuff's out there. People on our website or listen to this or whatever. It's like, it's easy to figure out what we do. And it's like, it feels like, I guess now more than it has, that maybe there's like a target on our back, or that we're kind of, people are like looking to like,
I don't know. We can talk about that in threats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. And it feels real, but it feels good.
Yeah. So in being out there and being, everyone uses this, we also, I think, run the risk of people getting sick of us, because they just see the same thing over and over and over. And I think the opportunity, and maybe kind of the weaknesses play into the opportunities that we'll talk about, is because the opportunity of that weakness is to then continually be innovating and making sure that you're, keeping up with things and changing and not just
bringing in floor plans. I mean, there's only so many products and things you can do, but there's different ways that you can do them, I guess.
I mean, I didn't really foresee 3 or 4 years ago that we were going to be doing floor plans on every photo shoot, because that was something you got from Matterport, or you had to hire a draftsman. There was no second floor, Cubicasa, or whatever.
Yeah, I would show up and there'd be this 70-year-old guy with his grid paper at these shoot, and he'd be there longer than me taking photos. I was like, oh man, we're never going to do that. Well,
exactly. And so I think that we can't know what the future holds, and we always, and it does, I don't know what that next product is, but there's going to be a next product, and or it's, and I think, like we kind of talked about a year ago, and then we haven't really done, is change your shooting style. There's ways to. We
did talk about that a lot, and then
we talked about
tweaked
it a
little bit. Nikki tweaks it, and she's good at it, but it's it's not like a policy. So and then that's a kind of another benefit of being part of PMRE and the community, and you kind of have your finger on the pulse of the industry and what's going on, and what's working for other people.
Totally. Okay, what's another weakness?
Another weakness. I think we did this last year too. Our team was our strength, but our team was also a weakness. Yeah. And I feel like it's less of a weakness this year than last year.
Yeah. I feel more steady with it. Like, I don't feel like the rug's going to be pulled out from under us. Yeah. Which is, of course, still could, but.
And because we've kind of, we've amplified the number of people doing video. So now it's myself, Nikki, Mark, we have 3 people last year. We just had 2, and we felt kind of vulnerable. And now it feels like if someone's on vacation or sick, or even a couple people, like you're kind of on the sidelines, I can step in more. We have kind of more backup capacity. So it feels okay.
And now I feel like we do have it where if we all of a sudden we did lose everyone, we could still do video, because you can do it. And, and I'm not that far. I just have to like get better acquainted with the gimbal, because my video skills were more of the slider days. But
yeah, we have a pathway to deal with that worst case scenario.
Yeah, and so that feels like we're buttressed a little bit more. I think we were. I did. Yeah, so I feel. I guess the size of our team would be the weakness. Is that we could probably, if we got super busy, we might be a little overwhelmed. So I think we, having like one more person kind of in our hip pocket would be good. So I think that
like right now, this time of year feels good, but it's like spring is like,
I don't know. April, I don't know. It might not feel like enough.
Right. Like we had something happen a couple of weeks ago where someone was sick and someone pulled out last minute, and we're suddenly like, felt like scrambled, like on a Monday morning, like trying to figure out how we're going to make, the
we
next
had 2
couple days
people,
work.
we had 2 people out, like with no notice. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Thankfully it's not that busy.
Right. But that, we made it work and we got through it. So it just proves that we can, can get through that kind of worst case scenario.
Yeah. We can put Chelsea out there shooting.
She's done one Matterport. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, it is a weakness, but it's less of a weakness, I guess, than it has been in the past. For sure. So it feels good.
I think, I don't know.
I mean, I feel like we have good systems for certain things, but we're lacking in systems for other things. And that's kind of something we can talk about in the opportunities is, this new system that we're implementing to try to actually put in proper workflows for things that we know we should have in place that we don't. So
I do think we're a little vulnerable on the admin side, as much as we love Chelsea. It's as was talked about before from Chelsea, and we haven't really made progress on that. It's like, she may even want to pull back a little bit more. And so that leaves us a little vulnerable time wise. And, and as it is now, she's just working a few hours on Fridays. And so, you and I have to do the admin, and, case in point, something came up today. I was like, oh yeah, that was my admin task on Friday that I didn't do. So
yeah, we're not very good admin anymore. We're terrible at it.
So, I think that not having like some VA help is hindering us, and is a weakness that we are just kind of relying on one person. So I think that
she hasn't taken a vacation in a while, but if she took off for 2 weeks right now, that'd be like, oh man.
Yeah.
We want her to do that. And we want our business to be able to support that. But suddenly it feels like, well, we got to scramble and figure out.
Yeah, exactly. So I think beefing up our staffing on the admin side is a good idea. And I mean, we've talked about that with Chelsea. It's not like we're dropping a bomb on her, and it's more to support her rather than to replace her.
Absolutely.
Just to clarify.
Yeah. And we're giving her the space to kind of figure out what's the ideal setup for her. We'll probably circle back in the new year and figure out what that looks like. And I think, in offloading some tasks to a VA that then would allow Chelsea to do more of the things that she's interested in doing, and that to help grow the business. So, yeah, we want to keep her customer facing, and we want to keep her as happy as possible. So, yeah.
And then, I think a weakness a little bit is like a lot of our business is coming from brokerage deals. And, if that were to suddenly go away, then that would really cause a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Where one of the nice things I think about a real estate photography business is you kind of have, and I always think about this in context of, because we work with realtors, I've often said that like the ceiling for a realtor is so much higher than a real estate photographer. They can make so much more money than we can, but our floor is a lot higher. Right. A real estate agent, because they're relying on so few transactions, it's like they can go to zero so quickly. Where for us, because we have so many clients, we're never going to be zero.
Right.
As long as there's
diversified
listings.
enough.
Yeah, exactly. We're still in one industry, but we have a big enough client base that we're kind of we're always going to make X amount of dollars, no matter what, basically.
Yeah. But some of that comes through big funnels, and if that funnel ever turned off, that'd be kind of scary.
Exactly. And so if all of a sudden, a fifth of your business is one brokerage, and then they go a different direction, it's like, man, you're way vulnerable. And
it could be nothing to do with you, because they have a corporate something, and they're, we're doing this now, we're doing this in-house, and we're hiring our own people, or whatever it could be. Just like overnight, you could get an email, and that could blow up your business.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that and not that I don't want that brokerage deal, but you have to, that is a weak point for us, right?
Yeah. When they're good and they're cranking, they're amazing, but they do have a flip side for sure that can.
Yeah, definitely.
So we need to maybe check in on that. I mean, there's only so much you can do to control those.
No, you can't really control it. It's just make sure you service it well, and do a good job, and keep the contact up, and don't take it for granted. I think that's the thing to do. And then also be looking for more brokerage deals. I mean, because if you have 5 brokerage deals and you lose one, you're going to be okay.
True. Yeah. And one of our brokerage deals is kind of complicated. It's split into 2 brokerages, and it's just like that whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That can get messy quickly. So
I think that's a little bit of a weakness.
Yeah, it is.
And that we could have said that as a strength too. All our weaknesses are strengths.
There's a flip side to every strength, I guess, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
What else we got as a weakness? I feel like that's enough. Covered everything. The big ones.
I mean, I think, I can think of another weakness. I think we are somewhat weak in our video product. That we have strong property videos. They're great. Everyone loves them. Blah, blah, blah. But the kind of branding lifestyle section, which I know so many of our friends in the industry are, going gangbusters with that kind of stuff, offering that diversity of services to their clients to be able to do, really nice looking headshots and to do, these branding sessions for realtors. We're just not really doing that.
Right. And we haven't really felt the demand, and we haven't really pushed it on our agents because we
haven't created the demand.
You and I are not super excited about it, right?
No,
so it's like,
no. No. And I kind of, and it's funny, before we came here, we did a shoot, and I was there directing it, we haven't even had agents on camera this year, even in in reels. I mean, we're not even selling reels. Everyone else is going crazy selling reels, and we don't sell them at all. And, but this one, had some inspiration from, we had a whole conversation about Cody Boone, Mr. Cody Boone.
Oh, nice.
He's like, oh yeah, I love those Sir Hunt videos. And, I was like, okay, yeah, well, I'm tight with Cody.
We got you covered.
So he wanted to do more of that style of thing. And so Marco and I went out there this morning to this house and we pulled it off. I mean, it's pretty basic, but I think it looks good. And the guy is going apeshit for it. So I think that's good. And we just need to be doing more of that kind of stuff and having that be part of our package.
Yeah. We need to be more familiar with it and just more confident with it too.
Yeah.
We don't just need to rely on Marco and you going I need to be doing we just need to be because, it's just a new service for us. So it's you don't have the confidence to really knock it out of the park yet. Yeah. But we need to build that up and doing these and putting them out there. And so I guess we'll see what kind of reaction we get.
Doing branding sessions, for realtors. I think that can really, this is one of those things. It's a way, not only can you make more money from it, but you can also, it just enhances your lock on that client.
Yeah. It really cements you in there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I think, I love our video. I think we do great, but I do think we're a little weak there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And even our property videos, you can pick out an Upmarket property video.
You can.
And I think that's good, but it's also they're
not
just
so good.
Yeah. When you do dozens of them a week, it's just man, they just all look the same. And it's just
we're not doing dozens a week. Come on.
Well, sometimes a dozen maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Dozens, that's plural. That's 24.
For me, when I'm trying to post a video on Instagram, I'm oh, let's pick out this. And they all start, and I'm just they all look the same. And I'm just
yeah.
And that was another takeaway from PMRE is what's the hook? What's don't give me the same, the address. And that it's just give me the juicy stuff first and then you can.
Yeah.
So that's something else we can look at.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, one of our weaknesses is not taking breaks on podcasts because that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to we will do a very brief social media sidebar because we're already a long way in on this. We're just talking too much SWOT, much SWOT. I'm sweating on my SWOT. All right, we'll be right back. Mark, are you in love or do you just love Aereo?
Oh, that's deep, man. For me, it's deep.
I'm kind of in between. Mm-hmm. It's kind of platonic, but it's also a little romantic. I love Aereo. I can admit it because it makes our life easier. Aereo does. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's wait,
yeah. I don't want to gender Aereo. Look, it's that kind of one spot where we can really, it's done so much to help us grow our business. I mean, let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Keeps on rolling out new features and it's just, it's only gotten better for us. So.
Well, totally. And we continually get feedback from clients that they love it too. And I mean, that's the big thing. It makes, not only does it make our life easier, it makes our clients' life easier. They have all access to all their content all the time. It's great for scheduling, for booking, for paying, just all the stuff you want to do.
The paying. We love the paying part.
Yeah. That pay to download feature. Love that.
Yeah. I love the little green. That's green's my favorite color.
Yeah, I love it. We love it. Come on, Aereo. Aereo.com. You can get 15 free bonus listings if you use the code Upmarket as a new user. Aereo.
Do it, people.
We were just talking about it. Come on, man. Floor plans everywhere. It's just the year 2023 has been the year of the floor plan.
It has for us. Yeah. It's blowing up our business.
Not even for us, for everybody. Because 2023 is kind of the year where Second Floor app kind of came around and became a player in that
industry.
In the floor plan industry. So Second Floor app is the fastest way to go in and get that floor plan for your client. And it's fast. It's so fast, you can deliver it before you leave the property. My goodness. Man. And get this, it's got GLA square footage now included in every floor plan. And it's instant as well. So you're going to be on site. You can do that. What are you going to scan in 5 minutes? Something like that. And then you're going to have the results instantly. Yeah. It does not get better than that. So if you want to get in on the floor plan train, get started with Second Floor App. That's SECOND floorapp.com. It's all spelled out /Upmarket, and you're going to get a free month of service. Secondfloorapp.com/Upmarket for a free month of floor plans. You're going to be able to deliver 1 million floor plans. Hey, we're Upmarket Pod across all social media that I have. Check us out, upmarketpod.com. You can go there. We have a website. There's not much on it, but you can get added to our mailing list. Do you want to hear about it's Upmarket Pod news? I mean, we're sending out news like
juicy newsletters in there.
Oh, geez. Well, once a week at least, sending out the newsletter for the podcast.
All the episodes are there. I mean, it's the place to be. Come on.
Upmarketpod.com. Make it your start page in Safari or Chrome. I think that's what you should really do.
Should be starting your day, right?
Yeah. I should go to that site and see how it's doing. It's Chelsea been updating the episodes. I think she has. Chelsea, make sure you do that. And then we are Upmarket.media is our flagship business. You can go check it out. You can check out our social media there as well. So check us out. And we're on Upmarket.media, Instagram and TikTok.
Oh yeah, TikTok.
TikTok.
I gotta update TikTok. Yeah.
So Mark, talking about our social media, where you can find our social media, brought to mind of another weakness that we didn't really go over in the meat of that last segment, and that weakness is our social media.
It is, and it was last year, I think, and it's still on the list. Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad,
right?
I mean, the Upmarket Pod social media is bad. I mean, we have some good content, and I really appreciate it. Bethany did some cool interviews at PMRE.
Actually, it's got a major upgrade recently.
Yeah, with Bethany working on it. So Bethany, it was the pre-Bethany doing that days, and she's cut some good reels for us of the podcast. But and when I mean bad, it just meaning that I don't post enough. And I don't do the behind the scenes stuff.
Right, like right now we should be doing like whatever. But our flagship Upmarket.media is like, it's, I don't know.
So the same house of the week is this. We're failing the 2-swipe test, which we talked about. We are.
I don't know. I think we're in there now.
Oh, you did? Oh,
I did a Thanksgiving post with all the crew in there. So that's in there.
Right. Okay. Good job.
Thanks. Yeah.
Good job.
So this one post.
One swipe.
We're done. That's taken care of, right? Checked off the list.
And I think we're just in the rut with it still. And I think, that's one of the things that, as we talk in the year, opportunities or whatever, if we are able to get more VA help going, that's something that we definitely want.
A
VA
100%
to help with.
And I know, there's many people out there that I follow in our industry that are using VAs to cut reels and do stuff, and then they do a great job, and it looks awesome. And it's just stuff that, I'm not that motivated to do and can't find the time to do. And Chelsea, I'll do it. And then it's just like, the day gets away.
Yeah, and then Chelsea fails us.
Dang, clients keep calling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you got to talk to Peggy soon.
Yeah, so I guess that's kind of our social media sidebar is like, do better at social media.
Do better, guys. Do better.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about how we can do better in the second half of the show, and we're going to end with some action items.
Yes, Don't you worry.
All right. So I think it's clear we're strong, yet weak. Strong.
Our strengths are our weaknesses.
I'm strong-hearted, weak-minded. I don't know, something along those lines. But one of our strengths is seizing opportunity, Mark.
Yes.
So let's get to our favorite part of this is our opportunity.
Okay.
Well, maybe threats is my favorite. I don't know.
Let's say, So let's look at opportunities. So when we're thinking about opportunities, we're looking at underserved markets for our specific products.
Okay.
So maybe either geographically or branching out to another industry.
Italy.
Oh, fun. Yeah. Maybe down under.
Yeah. Oh, no, they're saturated there.
Looking at competitors, what does it say? Few competitors in your area. Okay, we'll skip that one. What about emerging needs for your products or services?
Okay.
So that's kind of looking outside of your industry, which we've dabbled a little bit, but we can definitely do more with. What about press media coverage for your company?
Oh, yeah. What about it?
Yeah. So some of the questions we can think about is how can we improve our sales, our customer onboarding, our customer support process, basically our customer experience.
Okay.
That's an opportunity definitely for us to improve on. Another one is what kind of messaging resonates with our customers?
I don't know.
Where are our customers hanging out and how do we access them? And how can we further engage our most vocal brand advocates?
Those are all businessy questions.
Well, hello.
Yeah, I guess that's a SWOT analysis is a business thing.
And are we allocating our resources effectively?
No, our salaries are too high.
Dang.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely an opportunity for us.
Yes, yeah.
Bringing into the whole VA thing and
Yeah.
rejigging how Chelsea's set up. Like, there's definitely different ways we can allocate our resources.
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't think of the opportunities quite I guess I think about them in those ways. And I guess it is a weakness that we didn't mention is that we are kind of saturated into, the real estate industry. And so that leaves you vulnerable. Because as we've all seen this last year, if you're just doing real estate, you had a down year.
When the market's down 40%, you're going to be down somewhere close to that.
Like we were. So I think we still do have untapped opportunities outside of the real estate space. And I think specifically it is architects and builders. To me are the very obvious ones that I want to think about. I know other people are like, oh, I'll do branding sessions for other small businesses, or I'm going to shoot cars. I mean, that's a big one for people, I think, but I don't think we have that.
Oh, we'll dabble in weddings or we'll do that. It's just like, there's certain things that are kind of, I think, agreed to be off the table for us.
Yeah.
But it's like, there's other things that, we've kind of dabbled in and haven't really jumped in full bore.
Yeah. And the big one for me is, doing the Matterport for bigger, for architects and for commercials. For builders. And in fact, we have a few of those relationships and they're quite lucrative when we have them. So we have the architecture firm that, remodels like big box stores and department stores. And it's like, you can go in and do, $5,000 Matterport job,
Yeah. They're coming in with a big budget and it's just like, when can you, it's just like money's not really an object.
And it's in what I like about that in doing Matterport for builders is it's essentially the same workflow as the real estate stuff. So it's not like going shoot a car is going to be different, whereas doing a Matterport on a half built house is the same as doing one on a built house.
Yeah. Which for us means we can send our team or we can, if we choose to do it, if it's further afield or whatever it is, it's like, it's like we're not retraining our people to how to shoot interior design or how to do something different. Yeah.
And the great thing about architects and builders is that they don't bitch you on price because it's a pass through to their client. And so it's just a line item for them. And so they may try to mark it up a little when it goes back to their client, but I mean, it's really, like there's no pushback. And a lot of times those jobs are, $500, $600, $700, $800, $900 pretty easily.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can knock them out and they're usually ready to go and they're empty or whatever it is. So it's like the workflow is
we have
simple.
A 7,000 square footer, I think tomorrow or Friday. And it's like, it's like, I think it's in framed house. It's not even, there's no walls.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it's great. And we're charging it'll be like $900. So it's awesome.
Yeah. And I like that. It's similar to real estate in that you get the repeat business. Like if you're locked in with a client, it's like, because we've talked about doing Matterport for like, why don't we go do a Matterport at a school or a museum or something? And that's a nice payday, but it's a one-off thing and you're constantly chasing the next deal. But if you can lock in some of this repeat business, then that feels better.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So other opportunities.
Other opportunities. Let's see. Underserved markets.
I think there's more opportunity for I think brokerage level deals. Because I think we can use our strength, which is all those strengths that we talked about in terms of speed of delivery, ease of scheduling, the full team, all that stuff is we can march into a brokerage office and say, hey, look, we can, we have all this. How can we help you?
Right.
And
that's exactly what a broker manager is looking for, right? They want all their agents on the same level, marketing at a certain level. And like, we can just like walk in and deliver that.
Yeah. And we have the capacity to take on more business too. So it's like, that's a big opportunity for us. So,
yeah. And also, nurturing our current brokerage deals. I feel like there's a lot more opportunity there. We've kind of, one is pretty solid. The other one we're kind of dabbling with, and I need to do a better job of cementing that and continuing to be in front of their agents.
Yeah, totally. Totally. And opportunity, I mean, how are we feeling about, expanding our footprint?
Right. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Geographically, it's like, man, we're still just kind of struggling to like build outside of our core. We're slowly kind of got a slow creep, but it's just.
Yeah. I mean, we've made some headway into East Ventura County, which is kind of, the core region that we've been trying to bust into, but it's been pretty slow going. And I felt, when we had the PMRE episode with Daryl Stringer, we talked about it quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I think I've been a bit discouraged by it and have been sick of like going up there to like networking events, and it's, over an hour drive, and you get up there and it's just like a bunch of, the non-producing agents.
Yeah,
and that's such a waste of time. Where I feel like the networking ones in Ventura are so much more fruitful, and there's a big, it's not like all the top agents are there, but there's definitely meat on the bone there.
Yeah. There's enough there. There's actual brokers there, there's people that are, that you can really talk to and network with. Whereas up there, it's just I don't know where all the top players are if they just don't go to, or the actual association is just, kind of set up differently. It's just, it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah. And then you go up there, and then the other photographers in that region are also at those events. And so you're like,
there's three of us here.
And one that which is fine. I mean, and there's enough business for competitors. So it's not like, we're trying to go up there and take all their business. I mean, a little bit of it, but.
Yeah. But there's just so many big properties up there. And I know that the agents that we're talking to up there are not listing these. They're just not those agents. So it's like, we're still trying to figure out how to, and we've done a couple brokerage presentations and got some work from it, but
and I think the opportunity, one of the opportunities for us is to really beef up our other podcast, the Real VC podcast, the podcast that's about Ventura County real estate, that is geared for realtors. And like we kind of talked about before, we've had trouble. I think it's a really good podcast, and like we've gotten a lot of great feedback on it, but we're at 5 episodes or 4 episodes, whatever we are. And we've been kind of stuck there because, like I said, I was distracted for a while, but then even just like the last 2 weeks, I've been like, Chelsea, okay, we have these lists of realtors who said they're interested in doing it. I'm open. Let's just schedule.
I know.
We just can't
still
get them to reply to
even
emails.
When it's quieter, and it's like, man. Yeah.
And I just don't know if people are lying that they want to be on it, but I don't know.
Yeah. I like when we have one in the bag where we're kind of releasing it. Like it gives us something to talk to at networking events and agents.
Yes.
Like if we had someone on and they were just, I was on this, and the agents are kind of helping us spread it, and they're excited about being on it. And that just feels good.
I think it is a big opportunity to have that podcast. And so I want to, recommit, double down on that. Because it already has shown. I mean, we already have gotten shoots out of it because some of the guests. We had one guest who came on, and then I saw it listed a property and hadn't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
it didn't use us.
Thought they were a part of our tribe, but I guess not.
But then another one who'd never used this was a guest, and then they booked with us. So it's worked.
Yeah, and then they got out of the business for good. But it's so good.
It's great. Yeah. So it's really.
But you see the opportunity that is there and the potential of it, and if we can, like we've talked about, nurture that in the different part of our county and continue to grow a brand that way, then that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and so the opportunity, we're also trying to think of opportunities to go into other markets that are not East Ventura County, that are a little further afield, and we've talked about ways of doing that, and we haven't really figured it out, and I think it's like we were kind of hinting at earlier. It's like using our brand within our industry to be able to forge partnerships with people, and I think we're not really looking to go into a market and just go in and compete with our listeners.
Just hire some photographer and just go for it.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's the model that we want to take, of being like, well, if we just find a photographer in Topeka, we're going to be able to dominate that market. That seems impossible. So
no, it's more about forging a partnership or a takeover or something that works mutually for both parties, depending on where they're at.
Yeah, exactly. And so, we've talked with a few people, and, we have some irons in the fire. But we don't quite know. And in fact, and we do have one opportunity, which I need to circle back on about, a photographer that I know from my personal life, who is in LA and is moving away from LA and was interested in kind of talking to us about real estate photography. And I know he came out and shadowed Mark for a day, and like, super great guy. And
really smart, great photographer.
He's moving, to a different, somewhere different. And we were, kind of have the idea of, well, if you want to try to start, I mean, you could just be, a connection, an extension of Upmarket Media in this new place. And like, who knows what that could look like, but it's like, you can start that business and grow the business and use our, our name and our branding, and then we can handle the back end stuff. And, I think there can be a way to do it where he would have some ownership of the business and, and want to grow it, but then, we could help him, and, it could just be a win-win-win.
Right. We already have the systems in place, and we can train them and bring them up to speed. And then we're not having to outlay a ton of capital to buy a business. It's like we kind of all build it together. Right.
Yeah. And I think he's moving to a market, like an urban market that has, that has a lot of photographers, and, there's always people coming and going. So like, I'm not, so I think it would be, not noticeable for our listeners.
We're not looking to squash anyone, right?
Yeah, we're not. Like we could anyway. Like we're going to, move to some small town and Upmarket Media is here.
Yeah, right. That's not our MO, obviously.
No. But it is. But I think, given how slow it is to kind of naturally expand that footprint, and we've said it so many times, is just there's this geographic barrier. There's this, 4-mile grade up the hill, and it just seems like it's just a different world up there. It just feels like much more LA, and it's just we haven't been able to crack the nut.
Yeah.
And so
it's just very little crossover. It's just a challenging
and then
place.
you kind of feel the same thing about Santa Barbara. It's just, it feels like that's a tough place to get up to as well. So
yeah, that's its own bubble, but there's like a ton of potential there. And then,
and we just feel like we are in this bubble. And so the other opportunity then we have is to expand our market share in this market. And I think, we've done that a lot this year, and I don't have the numbers right now on, we haven't, we'll probably wait to run it till the end of the year to see exactly what our market share was for the year. But, what was it last year? We were like,
I was close to 20. I think that was like 15 to 18%, depending on the city that I looked at. I kind of broke it into the 4 main cities of our county. Yeah. And
so,
which we thought in our heads it would be 40, 50%, but it was kind of,
just the rubes that we are. It's like, and then Jeff was like, that's an amazing number right there. So
it's like, you're above 10%. You're killing it.
Okay, great.
And I was just kind of looking at all the listings that hit the market and how many of them we shot. It's like pretty basic, rudimentary.
I don't know how else you could do it. I mean, that is the market share.
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course there's listings that never hit the market, pocket listings, that kind of stuff, but that's on the margins, and
I feel like it's a close enough thing based on the data.
Yeah. You're going to be within a point or two of the actual number. So, but I feel like that has to have increased this year, given, like we said in the last episode, our marketing and our brokerage deals have paid off in that, we had an additional 25% new clients this year,
Yeah, we had a ton of people coming in every week. We had 1 or 2, 3 people that were
shot for a new client yesterday.
Yeah.
And are shooting for another one on tomorrow, I think, or Friday. I don't know, So even on a slow week, we're still bringing in a couple new clients.
Yeah. So, and, thankfully a lot of them are doing packages, or they're like, people are, our brokerage deals are kind of paying off when they're using us as kind of bait to lure agents in. So they get a media package out of it. And that's kind of
right. Totally.
There's a lot of new people coming in. So that market share is definitely growing. So it'll be interesting to see if we're up above 20 now or where we're at.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, because it's still like, I feel like we're getting more new clients than ever before, that I don't think that spigot is just going to turn off. So I do think there is still opportunity to grow our market share in the county.
Yeah.
in the west,
in the west
Ventura.
side. Yeah. Even though it feels like,
Well, there's a lot of opportunity in the east. So how do we get there? I don't know. But here where it feels like we're saturated, we're not. There's still plenty of opportunity there, plenty of agents that we can work with.
Yeah. And agents are constantly shifting around, jumping brokerages, or new agents are coming into the mix. So it's, there's a constant flux of people that can come into our.
Yeah, totally. So I think that's a really good opportunity for us, Mark.
Okay.
Yeah. Are there any other opportunities that you have on your mind?
Just kind of thinking back with our team and our video. We talked about video. That's kind of a weakness that we can flip into an opportunity.
I think that is an opportunity. Yeah. If we can start offering more of those services, that's absolutely an opportunity because we're just not doing them. So that's a whole new revenue stream that we don't have right now.
And we're a one-stop shop kind of accept that. And if we can bring that in, then I feel like we're really like,
yeah. And that can kind of naturally grow on its own. And I mean, we can, that can get bigger and bigger and bigger because when you're doing that stuff, it does kind of naturally, that translates more to, we're also shot a hair salon. With the employees at a hair salon, because, we can do those branding shoots. So there's a bit more crossover there. So I think that is actually a really big opportunity. And it's just, I think if you and I can just kind of change our mindset about it, and then that can, I don't know, I think we can.
Just to be more open about it and, not wait for someone to come knocking about it and like actually do a few and put them out there and make sure they're good, and then
exactly
build that confidence.
Exactly.
We still have opportunities with our team, obviously, as we've kind of showed this last year, like expanding the skill set of our team has really helped our business. So I feel like we can continue to do that.
Okay. Mark, what do you think? Any more opportunities?
Yeah, well, there's a big one because we've just started implementing a new system that I think is going to present, like in the coming months, a lot of opportunities for us to kind of hone our workflows and our onboarding. And that is like we're actually using a dedicated CRM system, which is kind of, we have Aereo, but that's not really in CRM and they're not trying to be, but we're using now Pixel CRM.
Right.
Which is not just a CRM for photographers, but for actual real estate photographers, right? Super specific.
Right. Yeah, and we're really just dipping our toes into that. Not dipping our toes. I mean, it's just we've just started, and so
there's a lot of setup and figuring out things.
Yeah, it's not just like a plug and play thing. I mean, it sort of is, but then it's not. Too, because you have to figure out exactly how you want to use it. There's a million different ways to use it, and you want to make sure that you're using it in the ways that are going to benefit.
Yeah, and there's I'm excited about the client reach out after shoots and gaining more online reviews and kind of streamlining our onboarding process because we have kind of a chopped up process and we do get asked the same questions. And it's like, that's clear to me that we need a proper system in place that, hey, you're going to work for us. These are the steps. This is how we operate.
Right.
And then after the shoot, what happens? And just being able to have a system that works and kind of does that for us.
Yeah. And I think that it can really address, some kind of micro weaknesses that we didn't really get into that didn't, pop into my mind at that time. But, there's one right there. We don't have enough reviews on Google My Business and stuff. And so in the CRM, you can actually set it up where you're texting the clients after, auto texting the clients after to, and prompting them to leave a review.
Right.
And, that shows that in general enhances your, you get a lot more reviews that way. And we just don't do that now. And so most of the ones we have are, I think you might've asked a few people at some point, but then and by the way, we review this podcast, give it 5 stars. Come on, people.
Yeah. We need a few more stars on there.
Yeah. I mean, I wish we could have an auto text after everyone listens to the podcast. Did you enjoy the podcast?
Seriously. Let us know, people. Come on.
Yeah. 5 stars only.
You don't get them unless you ask typically, right? So it's just part of that follow up and it's just, and I like how smart it seems.
Right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But
it's like, I don't want to nag my good clients every time, but it's like, it turns it on and off. And if they've left a review, then it's just like, so there's a lot of cool factors in there that can make it actually work.
No, there's some things on the face of it. You're like, I don't want to do that. That's annoying. But then it's like, oh, no, it just does it twice. And then if they don't respond, it doesn't do it for 4 months. Oh, okay. Well.
Yeah. So it's pretty genius. You don't want to be that naggy leave me that review. It's like, so that's cool. And then, like we said, the onboarding part of it, and we can integrate it with Aereo. So it's like as soon as we add a new client in Aereo, then it gets pinged in the CRM, and then an onboarding email goes out. So there's certain automations that I'm pretty excited to figure out.
No, that's going to be great. Yeah. So, and that's definitely one of our big slow season tasks is to do that. But it does. But it is an opportunity to streamline our business, which then frees up our time and frees up our mental space and helps us, not only have a better customer experience, but it helps us network and grow and expand because we have the time and mental space.
Yeah. Boom. Nice summary. All right. So threats. Wow. This looks like there's got to be more to it, but that's it, I guess.
No.
All right. So threats. Big one is emerging competitors, possible competitors, changing regulatory environment, which is kind of interesting. There's obviously a lot of big things going on in real estate with the big lawsuits and everything. Are there any negative reviews, negative press, media coverage about you that are threatening you? Not really for us, but
I got that locked down. I mean, there has been, but I scrubbed the net.
Changing customers' attitudes towards your company. Yeah. I remember we talked about that last year too. Kind of that shift that we're always trying to push. Like we shoot houses, but we're like shooting them to market you and not the house and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So constantly trying to drill that home. So yeah, I mean, competitors, there's always competitors out there. And I guess we feel it this year like we have in the past. And
yeah, and I think there's some new competitors in our market that haven't been there before, and they're savvy and getting out there doing good social media, and so you're like, oh, all right. I came to and they happen to like listen to our podcast.
Yeah, that's kind of like we're trying to put information out there, right, to help people, and then it's like, well, we're like laying it all out there for people in our market too. I guess
for young whippersnappers who listen to this podcast who are trying to take us down. No, not trying to take us down, but but it is kind of interesting to see someone else kind of come into the market and in a way that is splashy is maybe not the right word, but it is like definitely people are hearing about it. And, hearing about the company. And so whereas I think our other competitors are much more under the radar and they've just been like slogging it out, doing it just like kind of like us, but to have someone like brand new come on, it's like, oh, okay, well, what's that? So I think, it take away whatever and, not talk about quality, not talk about anything else. But if you have someone who knows how to market and is young and fresh and comes into your market, well, that is a threat because even someone might just be like, well, this seems different.
Right.
And it may be way worse. It may be way better. And, but hey, it's an opportunity to try something new.
Yeah. And like we talked about, it's like if people have been using us for 10 years and everyone's using us and it's like, well, that maybe this flash, shiny object over here is something to go look at.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's, and I don't think there's a giant threat to, in terms of like, we're going to lose most of our clients by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think, that can really happen. But, it's just on that, okay, is it going to take 5%, or will they take, maybe they'll take no clients or maybe they'll take 5 to 10% of clients. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I think it's healthy in a way too, right? Because it's like, oh, what can we do better? Or are we doing this? Or what are they doing that we like or don't like? And it helps you reflect on your own business.
Absolutely.
So I think it's all good.
And so, but I think any of us, we don't want to be arrogant to assume that we can't lose clients to a competitor because I think most of our clients used someone else before they used us.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. We didn't invent the industry here. There were people around before us.
I mean, definitely. A lot of my old school clients didn't use a photographer before they used me. But then, but I think any new client we've gotten in the last 5 years, I mean, they're either a new agent who's never used anybody or they've used someone in the past because it's much more standard to do professional photos now.
Right. And there was just not a lot of options a few years ago.
Yeah.
Now there's more and,
Yeah. And I think, we're going to continue to market. We're going to continue to do all that stuff. So, we are going to be able to, I think, keep market share and continually get new clients. But, it's like to have, to not be the only game in town is it's just a little different for us.
It is. Yeah. And I think ultimately it's healthy and a lot of other locations, it's like, or even like for us going up the hill and you see 4 or 5 other, you're just like, whoa, this is weird. Cause we've been kind of spoiled, I think a little bit.
Yeah, no, totally. And, so, and then I think, did we say last year, like owner burnout was a threat?
Or
was
that was
a
a weakness, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was our original SWOT, and then we kind of changed things around.
Yeah, I don't know. And so I do want to address that. I think that is always a threat. And I think you can see, like, had my year gone off the rails even a little bit more, I really feel like I could have just been totally MIA. Or you could, I mean, that's the thing is your parents or your family is in Australia. And if you had something that you just had to go, I'm sorry, I got to be gone,
right.
And it's like, and that's of course the most important thing. And it's just like, well, that's a threat. It's a vulnerability, I guess, maybe it's more of a weakness, but
yeah.
So threats and weaknesses, I think some are kind of intertwined a little bit, but at least in
threats, I think is more supposed
external.
To be, an external thing that can threaten, which that's more internal, but I think it's worth talking about because I mean, it is like how our roles have obviously changed and I'm like not getting burned on shooting, but there's just like so much stuff that I feel like that we're figuring out ways to offload.
And I think we are going to figure that out. And I think the CRM is part of that. And then, getting a VA is going to be a part of that. And I think that's really going to help your life.
That's going to help Chelsea and I, and which will help everyone. So
exactly. And so, and for me, like I think I'm still burned out on shooting for sure. But cause I've had to do a bit, I'm super burned on Twilights.
Yeah.
Like Twilights, like just depresses me. Even if I'm doing them like in Ojai, like 3 minutes from my house, I'm just like
on a stunning house with a beautiful night and this is beautiful. And the agent's like, this is awesome. And you're like,
oh God, no, there's something about driving home in the dark. And it's like, man, this is like first world problems here. Whiny little bitch problems, but it's this,
and it's not bad when it's 5:30 instead of 8:30, but
it's
still
much.
Like,
well, that's the thing. That's what I noted because I did Twilights that started at 4:50 p.m.
That's nuts.
Yeah. And you're like, and I was still driving home at 5:10 and being like, oh my God,
what's wrong with my life?
Yeah, and you're like, well, my dad drove home at 5 every single day, and so in the wintertime it was dark. So
I know there's plenty of people that wake up in the dark, go to work, come home in the dark.
That's the thing is, so I guess that's my way of just saying like, yeah, I get it. I'm being whiny, but it is, but I think for doing it for so many years and just feeling like, Twilights are the thing that kind of impact your home life more than any other shoot, obviously. Because if you have children and, a spouse and all that, it's that time of day that's always the, whether in here, the latest we're really shooting them is like 8:45, 8:50, because I think we're far enough south that doesn't, the people up north are shooting them at like 10:30, 11
it must
PM.
be nuts, yeah.
It's just you end up being gone for that whole like evening routine, the dinner and bedtime and
homework, and then it's like if you stack a couple of them, then it really like you're gone again. Like it's like it just you feel it, your family feels it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there were people at PMRE that were shared our sentiment on that are just like, oh, the Twilights are killing us.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess that goes to say that like I still. Just to sum it up, I mean, I still feel burned out on shooting, but I feel a bit more invigorated about the other stuff, and hopefully as my like my personal stuff gets a little more even keeled. I'd like, I'll be able to focus on that, and I, feel excited about that stuff. So,
I mean, I feel like you're getting into a better place and a headspace. You know, you were shooting every day initially, and we're coming out of that. It feels better.
Yeah, for sure. So the other threats I think would be, ones that are completely out of our control, such as interest rates. Such as
low inventory.
Low inventory, those are the biggest threats that we had this last year. And, we kind of managed it, but it was hard. And I think the sentiment is, it just feels like next year is going to be different, in a good way for us, but who knows?
I know all the agents know, they'll jump on positive news because they want to keep pushing that out there.
Yeah.
But their rates are going to come down 6 times next year and the market's going to go nuts. So get in now. And, I think agents are excited, or at least showing excitement that it's going to be a better trajectory.
Yeah. But it's not, prices are down here, like there's been a ton of price reductions. There's been, I don't know, who knows? I mean, and it's election year, and that election could go kind of nuts, know? So, there's those things that we just can't, that no business can control it.
No,
so
you can't control it. You just control how you react and how you respond and set yourself up, right?
Yeah. And I think there is some, the way you can respond to those threats are to kind of, I don't think focus on it too much, but kind of read the tea leaves as much as you can. And like, I am reading those tea leaves and thinking that at least this coming spring is going to be bananas is my guess. And I want to be prepared for that. I don't want to be caught off guard. And I think I did think that this year was going to be maybe a little slower than last year, but I think we were caught off guard on just how slow it was, especially really November last year through June. Or July.
We just kept waiting for spring, and it just, it was, the interest rates never came down, and it was just
and
tough.
So I think that caught us off guard, and I don't want to be caught that way again. And so, and that's the way we just kind of mentioned is like, okay, our staff is like leaner, but then what happens if we get super busy? So
our stuff now is more nimble, but it's like if we don't want to max them out and start burning them out, right?
Yeah, or on ourselves out. Yeah, for sure. And then, there's the lawsuit.
Oh yeah. The big
who knows?
Compensation lawsuit and how that's, people are saying it's not going to really change much on the listing side. There's still going to be listings and listing agents and need to market the listings. It's just the buyer side. So who knows? And it's in appeals for 2 years. And
exactly. I don't know. I'm not going to spend too much time worrying about it right now.
No.
So Mark, we just took a lot of action doing our SWOT analysis. But I want to take more action. I want to do some action items. And this episode, our action items happen to be sponsored by Pixel CRM. We just talked about Pixel CRM in the actual meat of the show, but we're going to go ahead and do the little ad here too. Pixel CRM allows you to scale your real estate media business through automation. It's the all-in-one business and marketing platform that complements your current delivery app. So it works with Aereo, HG Photo Hub, Spiro, works with all those things. So if you want to check it out, which I think you should, we did a webinar with Pete, the owner of Pixel CRM, and it was very informative. And
it's built by people like us that do what we do, right? They know what we need. So that's what I like about it.
Absolutely. So if you go to pixelcrm.com/upmarket, you're going to get $200 off if you sign up. But just so you know, Pixel CRM, that's PIXLCRM.com. There's no E in Pixel. So pixelcrm.com upmarket and get $200 off. That's big money right there.
That's the deal. $200 a month too. That's a lot, man.
Yeah. Woo, baby. All right, Mark, you got an action item?
Yeah, I got one.
Oh, good. I do too.
Okay, cool. You going first?
No.
All right.
I'm not.
All right. Well, my action item is literally my action item for the coming year, and that is to get VA help.
Oh.
And I think when people are a single shooter trying to build their team, that's kind of like if we didn't merge, if we weren't partners and we didn't hire Chelsea and that whole thing, then that's kind of the logical step if you're a single person.
Absolutely.
Is to get help, but get it in a way that's affordable that you can kind of scale as you scale. We didn't do it that way, but now we're kind of coming full circle back around. And I think the VA help and just being at PMRE and just having people reiterate that and talk about how it's helped. And they have literally an army of VAs that are doing all these different things for their business. Like we need to get into that world, and it's time for us and, for our listeners to look at it. And there's people in the groups that will help you. And there's even US based VAs, whatever you kind of want. So
sure. And we can shout out Shooting the Shit with Rachel, Lana, and Neil.
Oh, sure.
They had a really good episode on VAs. So I do recommend that episode of their podcast.
Yeah, so, Rachel Ann has an amazing VA, and we're talking with her, and she has a system, and there's ways to do it. So that was super helpful.
Yeah. So check that out. Okay.
What you got?
Oh, I got a good one. I got a really good one. No one's going to see this one coming. You should do a SWOT analysis.
This is like deja vu from last year.
Did I do that last year?
Yeah, I think so.
You know what? It's so good. We're going to do it twice.
You got to do it. I mean,
yeah, I think it's really, it's you know what? I'm going to do it next year too. That's going to be my action item next year for our SWOT analysis episode. That's that good. It's super helpful. And I would imagine your SWOT is going to look somewhat similar to ours, in certain ways. But obviously it's unique to everybody. You don't have the Conejo grade separating your county. Mm-hmm. So
probably not talking about East Ventura County. So,
no, exactly. Well, maybe one person is. It's super, super helpful. And I don't think, we're coming up on like an hour and a half here or whatever doing it, but I don't even think it has to take you that long. Mm-hmm. But just really, it's a great moment to kind of sit down, think about your business in the framework of in the prism of that kind of analysis. It's pretty helpful. And, we did it every year. We've done it every year with our business advisor since we've had him for like 6 years or whatever. It's been 5 years, and it's been, very, very valuable.
Yeah. It's kind of fun looking back from last year. Oh, this is still on our SWOT, or, we actually tweaked this and changed that and we improved upon it because we've, discussed it and it's front of mind. So,
yeah. So, and I think it was like probably on our SWOT analysis in the old days, pre-merger, where it was like, okay, what are the strengths and weaknesses and all that? And it's like, well, hey, maybe if we merge with another company, we can address some of those.
Yeah. Look at us now, baby.
Yeah. All right, Mark. Thanks for doing that.
That was a good one. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Talk to you soon. Upmarket is a production of Upmarket Studios. This episode was produced by Chelsea Froelich and edited by Bethany Diedrich. Thank you so much for listening, and we really hope you listen to the next one too. In the meantime, our wish for you is to not have to shoot any Friday night Twilight shoots. Thank you for everything.